In Chapter 1, Peter Lynch tells the story of how he became a stock picker, and along the way, lays out the simple mindset that guides his investing. Stay curious, use what you already know, and look for big winners among everyday businesses. Lynch's start was not inevitable. He was not born into investing. There was no ticker tape over his cradle. His family distrusted stocks because they remembered the Great Depression. Still, small signs nudged him toward markets. When he was 11, he caddied at an exclusive golf club where the members were business leaders. Caddying paid well and, more important, gave him access to people who talked about business and investing between shots. Those conversations and tips shaped his early curiosity. His first meaningful win came in college. He bought shares of a company called Flying Tiger for $7 a share after reading about air freight. The stock rose because the company benefited from wartime demand, and Lynch turned that first pick into a large multiple, his first five-bagger. More than the money, the experience convinced him that big winners exist and that they can transform a small portfolio. Two lessons come through in this chapter. First, individual investors have real advantages. Lynch calls this dumb money for dramatic effect. Ordinary investors see everyday trends, what people buy, what stores are busy, what products get repeated purchases, before Wall Street does. That local common sense knowledge is often the beginning of a great investment idea. Examples he mentions later include Dunkin' Donuts, Legs Hosiery, and The Limited, companies that a shopper or customer could notice long before analysts made them famous. Second, stock picking is more art than mathematical science. Lynch studied philosophy in college, history, logic, and the humanities, and says that training helped him spot illogical arguments on Wall Street. He dislikes relying blindly on academic theories like the efficient market hypothesis or on fancy quantitative models. In his real-world experience, he saw people make huge gains by understanding businesses, not by worshiping formulas. The chapter also contains a warning from experience. Not every promising idea works. Lynch recalls mistakes such as Maine Sugar, a venture that depended on farmers adopting a new crop and that failed when they moved slowly. That taught him to distinguish between a real, sustainable business and one that depends on a fragile or unlikely chain of events. After college, he interned at Fidelity Investments, where he met and learned from successful fund managers. He went on to graduate school, served in the Army, then returned to Fidelity as an analyst and eventually took over the Magellan Fund. Under Lynch, the fund grew from a small amount of assets to a giant pool, largely because he was willing to buy many different opportunities and because he kept an eye out for those rare 10-baggers, stocks that can grow tenfold. A recurring theme is Lynch's enthusiasm for spotting everyday evidence of growth: crowded restaurants, rising local demand, new product displays at the grocery store. He tells the story of Legs Pantyhose. His wife noticed the product's success in supermarkets first, and that common observation was the start of a great investment idea. Lynch argues that these ordinary observations are often more valuable than analyst reports because you see products in action in real life. He also points out the behavioral traps individual investors fall into. Many people chase trendy, complicated, high-tech stocks they don't understand while ignoring simpler, familiar businesses that are quietly expanding. A typical investor might buy the hot expert pick at the top, panic when it falls, and miss the long-term upside of the companies their families actually use and like.